Good morning. Today is the 9th of December 2025. Welcome back to our daily world analysis. And today we will discuss 5 important global topics. 1. The Vande Mataram controversy in Parliament. 2. The paradox of democracy and the chosen people of the state. 3. The India-Russia summit and its real strategic signals. 4. How India can benefit from neurotechnology. 5. The Netflix and Warner Bros. $72 billion deal and the future of entertainment. These 5 stories are shaping global politics, technology, culture and identity right now. Let's begin. 1. The Vande Mataram controversy in Parliament. Today we analyze a controversy that has once again shaken the political foundation of India. A controversy that has traveled across 150 years of history. A controversy that refuses to stay silent, because the emotions attached to it never fade. The issue is Vande Mataram, a song that once united a nation under chains. A song that today is dividing opinions in the halls of power. The atmosphere in Parliament is charged. Voices are loud. Emotions are high. And the debate has become a mirror of India's past, present and future. The government stands firm and says the nation must proclaim the full song. They insist the complete poem represents cultural strength and historical truth. They believe earlier leaders broke the soul of the song by removing stanzas. They argue that the full version must be taught, sung and honored by every Indian. They say that a nation that hides its heritage cannot stand proudly in the world. To them, restoring the full song is the return of identity and courage. But the opposition fires back with equal intensity. They say the 2-stanza version was chosen during the freedom struggle to protect unity. They argue the decision was not weakness but wisdom. They remind the nation that India was fragile and divided at that time. They say the change was made so that every community could participate in nationalism. They warn that reopening the full version today may create new discomfort. They fear it may push certain citizens away instead of bringing them closer. They accuse the government of turning a historical symbol into a political tool. The clash between these 2 positions has become dramatic. Every sentence spoken in Parliament carries emotional weight. Every argument tries to define what India truly stands for. This is no longer a debate about music or poetry. This is a debate about belonging. A debate about national identity. A debate about which emotions a country chooses to honor. To understand the intensity of this moment, we must remember where Vande Mataram came from. It was written in a time when fear controlled the land. It was written in a time when people were punished for speaking the truth. It was written when freedom was only a dream carried by the brave. Vande Mataram gave that dream a voice. It became the heartbeat of resistance. It inspired revolutionaries to stand against an empire. It gave strength to people who had nothing but hope. It stitched together a nation that did not yet exist. And yet, even during the freedom struggle, concerns arose. Some felt the religious imagery in the later stanzas could exclude communities. Some felt that the poetic descriptions of goddesses could create discomfort. Some felt that a national movement must embrace everyone equally. This is why leaders chose only the first two stanzas for official events. They believed unity must be protected above everything else. They believed every citizen must feel represented in national symbols. That historical decision remains at the heart of today's controversy. One side sees the full song as heritage. The other side sees the two-stanza version as harmony. One side wants restoration. The other side wants inclusion. One side talks about identity. The other side talks about sensitivity. Both sides claim to defend the nation, but their visions of the nation are different. This is why the debate is erupting again. This is why the issue is trending everywhere. The arguments are not about lyrics written on paper. The arguments are about emotions written in people's hearts. They are about how India imagines itself. They are about the kind of unity the nation wants to build. People watching this debate feel conflicted. Some feel proud when they hear the full poem. Some feel connected when they hear only the first two stanzas. Some feel angry that this issue is being politicized. Some feel emotional because the song carries memories of the freedom struggle. The nation is emotionally divided because the symbol itself is emotionally powerful. This controversy also exposes a deeper truth. India is a country where history and identity are never settled. Every generation reinterprets symbols in its own way. Every political era brings a new meaning to old words. Every emotional debate becomes a reflection of the nation's growing pains. And Vande Mataram, being such a powerful symbol, absorbs these emotions again and again. It acts like a lightning rod for pride, fear, anger, hope and belonging. It reminds people of sacrifice. It reminds people of courage. It reminds people of cultural roots. It reminds people of national wounds. And that is why the debate surrounding it is so intense and so dramatic. The deeper question remains unanswered. Should a national symbol carry only cultural identity? Or should it also carry inclusiveness for every citizen? Should the nation honor its heritage exactly as it was written? Or should it honor harmony by adapting to diversity? Is patriotism about tradition? Or is patriotism about unity? These questions make the controversy feel heavy and emotional. As the debate continues, one thing becomes clear. Vande Mataram is not just a memory from the past. It is a living symbol that continues to shape the present. It has the power to unite. It has the power to divide. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to provoke. And that is why this issue is not going away soon. Because the debate is not about a song. It is about the soul of the nation. It is about what India wants to keep, what India wants to change, and what India wants to become. The controversy forces every citizen to think about identity, unity and emotion. It forces the country to choose between heritage and harmony. It forces leaders to decide what kind of unity they want to build. And in this moment of heated debate, one truth rises above everything else. A nation is not defined only by its symbols. A nation is defined by how it treats the emotions attached to those symbols. A nation is defined by how it listens to every voice, even the quiet ones. A nation is defined by how it balances pride with sensitivity. A nation is defined by how it protects both memory and harmony. That is why the debate over Vande Mataram matters. That is why it is emotional. That is why it is dramatic. And that is why it has captured the attention of the entire country. Two, the paradox of democracy and the chosen people of the state. And in this moment of heated debate, one truth rises above everything else. A nation is not defined only by its symbols. A nation is defined by how it treats the emotions attached to those symbols. A nation is defined by how it listens to every voice, even the quiet ones. A nation is defined by how it balances pride with sensitivity. A nation is defined by how it protects both memory and harmony. Today we analyze a new dimension of this debate. A debate that reveals the paradox at the heart of every democracy. A democracy claims that all citizens are equal. A democracy promises that every voice matters. A democracy declares that power comes from the people. But the question nobody wants to ask is simple. Who are the people the state listens to? Who are the people the state prioritizes? Who becomes the chosen people of the state? When a democracy starts listening only to one identity, it stops being a democracy in spirit. When a government presents one cultural symbol as the only symbol, it begins to draw invisible lines. When the state starts telling people how to feel, what to sing, what to honor, democracy becomes fragile. And when any group feels their history or identity is not valued, democracy loses a part of its soul. This is the deeper conflict behind the Vande Mataram debate. It is not just a poem. It is a test of how a nation treats diversity. It is a test of how a state handles disagreement. It is a test of whether democracy honors every citizen or only the chosen ones. The government says the full song represents pride, heritage and cultural strength. They say reviving it is part of recovering national identity. They believe the complete poem will unite the country under one emotional flag. They argue that history must be embraced as it is, not selectively. The opposition replies with a different truth. They say unity is not created by force. They say national symbols must feel safe for everyone. They believe the two-stanza version was chosen to prevent exclusion. They argue the full version may not represent all citizens equally. They warn that majoritarian identity must not become national identity. And this is where democracy becomes complicated. Because democracy is not just voting. Democracy is not just parliament speeches. Democracy is not just political promises. Democracy is the constant struggle to ensure that no citizen feels lesser. Democracy is the constant effort to make space for every belief and every emotion. Democracy is the constant protection of pluralism. But the paradox remains. Every democracy talks about equality. But every democracy has groups who feel unheard. Every democracy promises fairness. But every democracy has people who fear being forgotten. Every democracy speaks in the name of the people. But the people are almost always divided. This is the paradox of democracy. It gives power to all, but power is often controlled by a few. It promises representation, but some identities feel invisible. It speaks of unity, but unity is always fragile. It celebrates diversity, but diversity is always contested. And when a national symbol enters this battlefield, emotions rise sharply. Some feel proud. Some feel threatened. Some feel inspired. Some feel uncomfortable. Some feel included. Some feel excluded. That is why the Vande Mataram debate is so emotional. It is not about right or wrong. It is not about one side winning. It is about what kind of democracy India wants to be. A democracy where one identity becomes the chosen identity of the state? Or a democracy where every identity, every culture, every belief stands equal? A democracy that honors heritage? Or a democracy that prioritizes harmony? A democracy that asks citizens to agree? Or a democracy that gives them space to differ? A democracy that defines unity as sameness? Or a democracy that defines unity as coexistence? These are not small questions. These are questions that shape generations. These are questions that define the future. These are questions that decide how a nation grows. And in this moment, when the debate is intense and loud, one truth again rises quietly. A nation is not built only by its strongest voices. A nation is also built by the softest ones. A nation is not held together by symbols alone. A nation is held together by fairness, respect and understanding. A nation is not shaped by force. A nation is shaped by empathy. And perhaps the real test of democracy is not how loudly the powerful speak, but how gently the nation listens. (3) The India-Russia Summit and its real strategic signals. Russia's president arrives in Delhi with full ceremonial respect. A 21-gun salute. State welcome. Business delegations. Large agreements waiting to be signed. This summit is the 23rd annual meeting between India and Russia. It reflects a partnership built over decades, not just defense deals, but energy, trade, science, culture and people-to-people ties. On the table is a bold target, to raise annual trade between the two nations to $100 billion by 2030. This shows both countries want to shift from an occasional buyer-seller relationship to deep economic collaboration. Energy is a key pillar. Russia promises stable supply of oil, LNG and coal, even when the world is trying to isolate Moscow. For India, that means energy security in a volatile global market. But it's not only energy. They're discussing joint ventures in manufacturing, technology, critical minerals, infrastructure, agriculture and defense production. Plans for joint defense manufacturing, co-production and smoother logistics and supply chains have been renewed. The old buyer-seller model is changing. India is no longer just buying weapons, it wants Make in India plus Russia. Maintenance, spare parts, local manufacturing of equipment, and joint research and development are all being discussed. There is talk of new agreements, involving labor mobility, agricultural ties, fertilizer plants abroad, healthcare cooperation, shipping routes and sectors beyond defense and energy. The summit also reflects a shared geopolitical signal. At a time when the global order is shifting, with wars, sanctions and tensions, both nations are signaling strategic autonomy. They are saying, we will chart our own path together. But the summit has its critics. Some worry that deeper ties with Russia may provoke pressure from Western powers. Some fear that India's choices could complicate its relations with other strategic partners. Yet for many in India's policy circles, this summit is a calculated bet. A bet on a multipolar world. A bet on balancing relations with the West, with Asia and with legacy partners. A bet on securing long-term energy, defense and economic stability in a turbulent world. For Russia, the summit is a lifeline of trust and trade. With sanctions and global isolation, partnerships like this offer breathing room, economic opportunity and access to a large and stable market. For India, it's a chance to modernize. A chance to strengthen infrastructure, acquire critical minerals, accelerate technology transfer, expand manufacturing and build a stronger industrial base. It's a chance to reduce dependence on Western supply chains. It's a chance to reinforce strategic autonomy. But underneath all of this is a complex dance of geopolitics. Because global powers are watching closely. Every step matters. Every agreement sends a message. To Washington, to Brussels, to Beijing, and to global markets. The India-Russia Summit of 2025 is not a routine event. It is a statement, loud, clear and deliberate. It says alliances built on history can evolve with time. It says partnerships can be multidimensional, strategic, economic, industrial and social. It says trust and shared interests still matter in a world filled with uncertainty. But the summit also raises hard questions. Can India balance its rising global ambitions without damaging its delicate diplomatic network? Can Russia rely on India without affecting its own strategic calculations? Can both countries sustain this partnership amid shifting global politics? As the agreements are signed and the ceremonies end, the real work begins. Implementation, execution, follow-through, delivering energy, building infrastructure, boosting defense production, expanding trade. Because grand announcements mean nothing if the results don't reach the ground. The real story of this summit is not in the photos of handshakes. It is in the factories that will be built. It is in the pipelines that will be secured. It is in the shipping routes that will open. It is in the supply chains that will strengthen. For citizens of both countries, this moment could mark a turning point. A shift from Cold War nostalgia to modern strategic cooperation. A shift from dependency to partnership. A shift from buying to building. But whether this potential becomes reality, or fades into diplomatic memory, only time will tell. Because in geopolitics, trust is rare. And execution is always harder than promises. This summit is a test. A test of vision. A test of strategy. A test of commitment. A test of whether two nations with complicated histories can shape a shared future. And as the world watches, we must watch too. Because what happens between India and Russia does not stay limited to them. It influences global energy markets. It affects global security. It shapes global alliances. It shifts the future of world order. This is the real story of the India-Russia summit. Not just handshakes and headlines, but risks, opportunities, strategies, and perhaps the beginning of a new chapter in a changing world. Four, how India can benefit from neurotechnology. Now we analyze a new topic that is silently shaping the future of every nation. A topic that sits at the intersection of science, society, and human dignity. A topic that could transform healthcare, education, disability support, and national capability. That topic is neurotechnology. Neurotechnology means technologies that interact with the brain and nervous system. Technologies that can read signals. Technologies that can restore control. Technologies that can help people think, speak, or move again. Technologies that can heal what medicine alone cannot. And for a country like India, the potential is enormous. Because India is a nation of more than 1 billion people. A nation where millions live with neurological disorders. A nation where stroke, paralysis, and mental health problems affect families deeply. A nation where access to advanced medical care is still unequal. And a nation where technology, if developed wisely, can change lives on a massive scale. Neurotechnology can help India in healthcare. It can help diagnose brain conditions earlier. It can help treat mental health problems with more accuracy. It can help doctors understand depression, anxiety, epilepsy, and dementia better. It can support rehabilitation after strokes. It can give people with paralysis new ways to move. It can give those who cannot speak new ways to communicate. It can give disabled citizens the freedom they have been waiting for. Neurotechnology can also help India reduce inequality. Because if India builds affordable neurotech devices, millions in rural and poor areas can benefit. Imagine low-cost brain-controlled wheelchairs. Imagine simple headsets that detect epilepsy early. Imagine devices that help farmers, laborers, and elderly people recover faster after injuries. This is not fiction. This is the future India can build. Neurotechnology can transform education too. It can create learning tools that adapt to each child's brain patterns. It can help children with learning disabilities. It can help students who struggle with attention or memory. It can make classrooms more inclusive. It can give every child a chance to learn in their own way. In mental health, neurotechnology can be a revolution. India has a massive mental health crisis. Millions suffer in silence. Diagnosis is slow. Treatments are uneven. Neurotechnology can provide objective data. It can show what the brain is struggling with. It can guide better therapy. It can support healing with dignity. India can also become a global leader in neurotech innovation. Because India has talent. India has engineers. India has scientists. India has young minds ready to solve complex problems. If the nation invests in neurotech research, it can create new industries. It can build startups in brain-computer interfaces. It can build brain-controlled prosthetics. It can build advanced neural devices at low cost. It can export these technologies worldwide. Neurotechnology can help create jobs. It can create research labs. It can create engineering industries. It can create medical manufacturing sectors. It can create an entire ecosystem around brain science. This can boost the economy. This can make India self-reliant. This can make India a leader in futuristic technology. But the biggest benefit of all is human dignity. Imagine a man who cannot move his hands. Imagine he gains control again through a brain interface. Imagine a woman who cannot speak after a stroke. Imagine she speaks again through a neural device. Imagine a child with a disability who suddenly becomes independent. This is not just technology. This is hope. This is dignity. This is freedom. But every great technology carries risks. Neurotechnology touches the brain. It touches emotion. It touches identity. So India must protect people. Protect their privacy. Protect their brain data. Protect their rights. Protect them from misuse or manipulation. If India handles neurotechnology with ethics and fairness, it can change lives. If India builds policies that protect every citizen, neurotech can become a blessing. If India ensures equal access, neurotech can reduce inequality. If India invests in research, neurotech can drive economic growth. This is why neurotechnology matters to India. It is not just about science. It is about society. It is about humanity. It is about the future. India stands at a crossroads. One path leads to innovation, health, dignity and progress. The other path leads to risk, misuse and inequality. The choice must be made with wisdom. Because the brain is not just an organ. It is the seat of identity. It is the center of emotion. It is the home of consciousness. And if India protects that home while using technology to empower people, the future can be extraordinary. A future where disability does not mean helplessness. A future where mental illness does not mean silence. A future where age does not mean decline. A future where technology and humanity walk together. This is the promise of neurotechnology for India. This is the opportunity. This is the challenge. This is the story the nation must understand today. Five. The Netflix and Warner Brothers $72 billion deal and the future of entertainment. Now we analyze one of the biggest earthquakes in global entertainment. A deal so huge that it is rewriting the future of films, streaming and storytelling. Netflix has taken a bold step. A $72 billion step. A step that brings Warner Brothers under its roof. A step that changes the balance of power in the media world. This deal is not just about money. It is about control. It is about legacy. It is about reach. It is about influence. And above everything, it is about who will shape the future of global content. For Netflix, this is a declaration of strength. It is a message to every competitor. A message that says Netflix is not just a streaming service anymore. It is becoming a media empire. An empire that owns the pipeline of imagination. An empire that controls what millions watch every day. Think about what Warner Bros. Brings. Decades of iconic storytelling. Legendary films. Massive franchises. Characters that live inside global culture. Stories that shaped generations. And now, all of it can be placed inside one platform. This is why the world is shocked. Because Netflix did not just buy content. It bought history. It bought influence. It bought cultural power. It bought the ability to decide what the world talks about. For creators, this deal changes everything. Budgets get bigger. Opportunities expand. Distribution becomes easier. A single platform can now launch a film into every corner of the world. The distance between a storyteller and the global audience becomes almost zero. But every bright light casts a shadow. Cinemas may feel pressure. Theaters may struggle. The traditional film industry may lose space. When global content becomes instantly available at home, the old system weakens. Small creators may worry too. Because when giants dominate, small voices sometimes disappear. Diversity may shrink. Representation may suffer. Algorithms may push certain content while hiding others. Control in one place always brings risk. Governments are watching. Regulators are watching. Because this much power in one company raises questions. Questions about competition. Questions about fairness. Questions about cultural influence. Questions about the future of media independence. For India, the impact will be big. More global content will arrive faster. More international franchises will enter homes. Regional storytellers will face more competition. But they will also get global opportunities. Collaborations may grow. Distribution may expand. The world may open up for Indian cinema in new ways. This deal also reveals a deeper truth. The future of entertainment is not in theaters alone. Not in television alone. Not in the old model of studios alone. The future lives in streaming. The future lives in platforms. The future lives in companies that can merge creation, distribution, and technology. Netflix understood this before anyone else. And this $72 billion move shows they are ready to dominate the next century of storytelling. Not just to compete, but to rule. Not just to participate, but to shape. Not just to survive, but to lead the world of imagination. This deal is not an ending. It is a beginning. A beginning of a new age of media power. A beginning of a world where one company can influence what billions watch. A beginning of a race where other giants will respond fiercely. A beginning of a battlefield where content is the weapon and attention is the prize. And behind all the headlines, one question remains. What does this mean for the future of stories? Will creativity flourish or shrink? Will diversity grow or fade? Will audiences get more choice or less? Will storytellers gain freedom or lose it? Only time can answer these questions. But one thing is clear. The Netflix-Warner deal has changed the game. The industry is no longer the same. The rules are no longer the same. And the future, from today onwards, will be written differently. Thank you so much for